Welcome, my name is Ricky, and this is the Fallout 4 Challenge Run. This will be similar to my Fallout New Vegas Challenge Run, but it will also be a little bit different. In New Vegas, I didn't take any perks, sort of, and I didn't directly increase any of my skills on a permanent basis. Fallout 4 does not have skills, but you also don't have to take a perk every other level like you do in New Vegas. Because of that, it's a lot easier to just not take perks. And again, there aren't any skills because most of the skills just became perks. So this will be a survival mode playthrough, and I will not be taking any perks at all, period. However, every single level I will be taking that perk point and putting it into one of my special, until all of them are at 10. So I'm doing this so that way I can give myself a little bit more of an advantage, because Fallout New Vegas was not nearly as fun as it should have been. I'm hoping that by increasing my special every single level, the game will be a little bit easier and a little bit more tolerable in later levels. So this is Corvo, the character we will be playing here in Fallout 4 Challenge Run. I'm mostly naming him Corvo so I can hear Steven Russell say Corvo, even though he'll be doing it in his, Codsworth accent. So this is my special. It's going to seem kind of dumb and crazy, but it is a special that works when you don't actually care about perks in the slightest. So we have Strength of 3, Perception of 5, Endurance of 7, Charisma, Intelligence, and Luck of 1, and Agility 10. Here's why the special is where it is. Strength, not going to be relevant all that much. I know I'm on survival mode, but I will explain why it won't matter. Perception, accuracy, but I'm not overly concerned with having a super high accuracy. I'll talk about that in a minute too. Endurance, health, duh. Charisma, intelligence, and luck aren't really going to play a super big role in the game. I am going to be putting points into charisma and intelligence at the beginning. Like, every time I level up, it'll probably be in one of those two things. Intelligence really is only affecting two things here. The number of experience points, which is largely irrelevant because when level ups only mean a point in special, I'm not racing towards them. And also reducing the number of potential passwords in novice terminals. Because I gotta be honest with you, one intelligence is super, super annoying when there's like 50 stinking words in there. It's probably not 50, but it feels like 50. Charisma, pretty much just buying power, passing some speech checks. It's not really that super important.
Mr. Corvo,
See?
Sean has been changed, but
It is very interesting hearing the guy who voices Corvo say Corvo in his Codsworth voice. So, as I run to the vault, I want to say something real fast. I'm probably going to skip over quite a lot of the dialogue in the game because it's Fallout 4. You've probably played it by now. You know what happens. But like I did in Fallout New Vegas, I probably won't cut everything out. Also 7 endurance and 10 agility. You can sprint for days. Also, I am going to be, similar to what I did with Jesse in New Vegas, telling you a little bit more about Corvo as we go through. Probably not the first couple episodes, but we'll get there once we settle into the game proper. I'm going to tell you more about his life pre this moment right here where the bombs fall.
Almost there. We're gonna be okay.
Because really, there's very little about the sole survivor in the game, all things considered. Nora, Sean, Sanctuary, he was in the army. That's about it. Okay, so, I mean, you know the deal. You know what just happened. Kellogg came in, took Sean, killed Nora. I'll get Sean back, I promise. Way back in 2017, I played Fallout 4 survival mode on the channel. And like that run, this will be a Minutemen run. And that is because, well, it's just easier to do a Minutemen run in survival mode than it is to pick one of the other factions because largely... Did that say Wonder Glue? Oh, that is awesome. It's just easier to keep everyone still alive except the Institute. I mean, unless you're siding with the Institute, you're going to have to take them down anyway. So you might as well leave the Brotherhood and the Railroad alive in the process. However, we will be doing stuff differently this time than we did last time. We're doing a little bit more with the Institute, and we'll be doing a lot more with the Brotherhood, because I did almost nothing with the Brotherhood last time. And we'll be doing a little bit more with the Institute, because I wanted to see what would happen if I could actually get banished from the Institute when I got banished from the Institute, which is right after the Battle of Bunker Hill. And we can do a few more things that I haven't done. So I'm going to get out of the vault, and then I'm going to talk about how we are actually going to be playing the game. I have 10 agility, and that is not for action points. Although, it is useful for action points. It is not for action points. It is actually for stealth. In Fallout 4, having 10 agility is much better than having 1 or 2 or 3 agility for stealth purposes. I mean, this is super nice, don't get me wrong. Really? I can't target the... Thank you. You know, being able to target all the rad roaches in the hallway, or almost all of them, because I think I missed one. Because it's around the corner. Yep, there was one more around the corner. I thought so. I mean, it's nice. And we'll be using VATS. But we won't be using VATS too much. And that is, well, I'll explain all of that in a minute. You know, I have to say, I think that this is probably one of my favorite video game moments. Is coming out of the vault for the first time in Fallout 4. Not my favorite video game moment. That might be in BioShock 2. But yeah, I think this is definitely top 10, maybe even top 5. Molotov cocktail, sweet. So while all of the creation stuff loads in, I'm going to explain how we are going to be playing this game. Weapon-wise and stuff like that. The primary weapon we are going to be using is actually going to be the Institute Rifle. Now I know what you are thinking. The Institute Rifle sucks. And it does. Sort of. Unless, of course, you're not modifying it much. Then it doesn't suck nearly as much because kinda all weapons are kinda bad at the early stages of, like, gun nut and science. I'm gonna talk to Codsworth real fast, and then I'll continue telling about what we're gonna be doing.
As I live and breathe.
So, Codsworth's gonna go take on some stuff. I'm gonna come over here and pick up your special book so I don't forget. I'm gonna put this into Charisma, so now we have 2 Charisma. It's not super important, admittedly, but it's worth thinking about. So, primary weapon, Institute Rifle. However, until we get an Institute Rifle, which will probably be in episode 3. Did you get all of them? Yes, okay. So any other weapon is readily available, but it won't be the primary thing. Like, for instance, if we get, like, a good legendary, like, laser musket, we might use that. Yeah. I'm stupid accurate right now. And I leveled up. Yay! I mean, I knew I would level up before the end of the episode. So Codsworth wants us to be really lame and go visit Concord and see if there's help there. But that's going to be a big old negatory until next week. Because we got gearing up to do. So I'm going to talk about armor in a second, but I'm going to go over the mods that I have installed for this playthrough right now. And so the most important mod that I have installed is this. I had this installed during my survival mode last time. It is Save Point. And it allows me to save the game whenever I need. I can build them at any of the settlements, and there's a couple in the world. And that is the most important mod that I have installed. I also have a mod called Diamond City Surplus, now has everything, which gives Crazy Myrna just a crap ton of stuff. It also gives Crazy Myrna and a bunch of other merchants just a crap ton of caps, which is largely going to be fairly useful in this playthrough because it'll let me sell everything quickly, and then I won't be hauling a bunch of junk around. I have 3 other mods installed. One that activates the console, one that turns the Pulowski preservation shelters into save points, and I'll show that off in another episode, and then a mod that I actually created, and it turns the wild mute fruit and the wild corn into basically regular mute fruit and corn. I mean, they still say wild mute fruit, don't get me wrong, but it just gives me regular mute fruit. And I'll show you right now what I mean by that. So, this is a wild mute fruit, and now I just get regular mute fruit. So those are the mods. Talked about my weapons. Now I need to tell you about armor. We are going to use power armor. And I know what you're thinking. Power armor is really overpowered. It is, sort of. But it's also not as overpowered as you might think. You can still die. It's pretty easy to die, especially in survival mode, where enemies do like 5 times normal damage. But here's the good news. I can't actually increase any of the power armor past B in the game. Period. There's just no way to do it without perks. And here's the other good news. I'm not going to use anything higher than T51 power armor. Come on, one more. Oh, hang on. I leveled up. So, I'm not going to be putting a lot of points into strength because we're going to be walking around in power armor. Perception isn't going to be all that useful, and neither will VATS, because fusion core drain is a thing, and I don't want to be draining the fusion cores that much. Which is why charisma and intelligence are going to be so important, but I'm going to put 1 more point into charisma just to get me a little bit better buying when we get up there. I'm being detected, I assume, by, or was being detected, I assume, by the rad stags that are in this area. Obviously, there are major trade-offs to power armor in survival mode specifically. Fusion cores weigh 4 pounds each. That's a lot. I will not be able to carry around a ton of fusion cores at a time. Fusion core drain is a big deal. If I run out of fusion cores, I'm going to be slowly walking to find another fusion core. You know, that's just what's going to happen. You also have to repair power armor, and that's why we're not going past T51 power armor, because T51 power armor still requires steel. T60 might only require steel at the lower levels. I genuinely can't remember and don't care. T51 power armor isn't super overpowered anyway. It's only like 600 damage resistance, which sounds like a lot, but there actually isn't that big of a difference between like 100 or 200 damage resistance with something like Ballistic Weave and 600 for most things. It's really only useful for heavy damage like explosives. So, I am hoping you have figured out why we are coming over here, but if you haven't, we're doing 3 things. We're getting some fusion cores, we're getting a Fat Man and a mini nuke, and we are getting power armor. Now, I genuinely thought about, I really did think about getting, actually creating a mod to put a full set of power armor over here. I actually created that mod, but it is not activated. Okay. Hot rodder paint. Nice. That'll be useful. And some military grade circuit boards, which is always useful. So let's come down here, grab this fusion core, get in our power armor, and then come back over here so I can carry stuff. Because I'm already at my weight limit. And there she is. First set of power armor we're going to have. Looks like it's got a helmet. Actually a fairly complete set of power armor, all things considered. It's only got 3 pieces, admittedly, but it could be worse. Now, don't get me wrong, I will be putting the remaining pieces on this set of power armor. Probably from the one in Concord, because I can't imagine doing it before then. So, okay, so let's get the Sentry Bot up. Okay, Sentry Bot, you're a good friend, but unfortunately you have 2 fusion cores in you, and I kind of need them. You were very kind to take out the mole rats for me, so I didn't have to. But, unfortunately, yeah, I really kind of need your fusion cores. You know what? Yeah, I think this works. Run around in power armor. This looks a little banged up, but once we get the rest of the pieces, it'll look pretty good. Next week, we'll be introduced to the faction that we are going to be ending the game with, and also dog meat, so there's that. This has been Fallout 4 Challenge Run. Thank you for watching, and come back soon for more Fallout 4.